Hello everyone, and today we're going to make a diorama of a Jeep stuck in the mud. Now, what I have here is my Jeep that I'm going to use, and a piece of insulation foam. It's just normal insulation foam you can buy from Home Depot, and I've cut it to fit. This will be the base of the diorama. And I have my Jeep here, so what we're going to do is just going to find out where we want to stick our Jeep in the diorama. So I think I'm going to want to have it going down the hill here, so I can add a few rocks right here. I cut a few rocks around here, like right this. I have something back here, and I'm going to add another thing right here. Now to cut all of these all of the foam, I have a hot wire foam cutter. This hot wire foam cutter is made to cut foam. You plug it in and turn it on. Now with the hot wire foam cutter, you can it melts the foam away. You can just cut it any shape you want. But in my case, I want to have a small piece like this. So I'm just going to shave off the back side. Like that, and stick it on the model. Now, I'm going to go ahead and cut all the pieces of foam that I need to pull the Jeep, and then I will get back with you shortly. As you can see here, I finished placing the foam in the position I want it. So there's going to be a river here, and I'll sort of have rocks and various things coming down the mountain. You don't have to get it exactly the way you would want to look at it. It just has to be just has to be close for reference. And it's like the base of the whole model. You can add stuff on to it later if you don't like it. But let's move on to the next step. Now for the next step, you're just going to need some Gorilla Glue, and we're going to start to attach the Gorilla Glue. We're just going to pick up the piece that we need, open the Gorilla Glue, and I'm just going to go as a snake, and I'm just going to go and glue everything down, which you're happy with the result. A little of this glue goes a very long way, and we're just going to smush it down and pat it down. Now I'm just going to do this for the rest of the model, going in the snake position and going down, and I'll get to that, and when I'm done, I'll show you what we're going to do next. So as you can see, the glue has finished drying. In a few spaces it has bubbled up a little bit, but that will be okay. You can cut that off if you don't like it. I'm probably going to cut mine off just because. But now we are ready to move on to the next step. Now for this next step, you're going to need some plaster of Paris. I'm just using the DAP brand, plaster of Paris. You can buy it at any hardware store. And you're going to need a mixing container. Next, we're going to put our plaster of Paris into the mixture we're going to do. It's 1 part plaster, or 1 part water to 2 parts plaster. We're going to fill that past the water line. So we have enough. That should be good. And then you're going to want to mix it with something. I'm just using an old piece of foam. I'm going to mix it with something. Just going to go ahead and mix it around. It should be light and gooey. I might need to add a little more water to mine because it should be very gooey, as I said before. So I might add some more water to mine, and then we should be good. So I'll go add some more water, and when we come back, I'll pour the plaster into the rock molds, and then we can continue with our diorama. Okay, so I mixed up the water. You're going to want it very liquidy, so you can easily pour it into the rock molds. And what we're going to do is we have a rock mold. I put it on some foam. These are rock molds from Woodland Scenics. Any brand will work. And what you're going to do is you're going to gently pour it into the rock molds of down fashion. This is very important. You have to wet the rock molds before you stick the plaster of Paris into them, because otherwise it will not come out. Good. So we're just going to let that sit, and we're just going to I've seen little things that we're just gonna prop it up on this side. It needs to be propped up a little over here. And you can take a piece of foam or whatever you have laying nearby and just spread it around, making sure that it's getting into all the crevices of the rock mold. There we go, all the way around. And smooth it out around. And now we'll go into the next one. This is another rock mold from Woodland Scenics. I'm just going to go through and we're just going to pour it into all of the cracks. I might need to make more plaster for this one, but you can tap the back of it if you need to get out more plaster. All the way around. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to make more plaster, but. So after our rock molds have dried, I've just taken them out of the forms. And here they are. They all look pretty good. But what we're going to do, our glue has all finished drying. We've combed out everything. So what we're going to do next is I have some cement here. This is just regular, it's called, the brand I'm using is called Structo Light. You can find it at most hardware stores. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it with water and then we're going to spread it over the model. So now after I've mixed the cement, we're going to take some, you might need gloves for this part like this. I'm just going to go ahead and smear it all over the model. Try not to get any on your carpet or on your workspace. We're just going to smear it, and it's just like how you would like to see it in a real land formation. Just going to go around, all the way around, and if you would like to start adding some rock molds, this is the time to do it, because this is the time when you will be able to add them. You're just going to stick them in the cement. I have here a big one right here. I'm going to use this one, this guy right here. Might just stick him over here and go through, just go around. Smooth it all around. Try not to get any cement on the actual surface of the rock mold because it will mess up the contour. But yeah, as I said before, just go around the whole model. Going around the whole model. And I'll get this done and I'll catch up with you when the sun's drying in about 1 to 3 hours. Now that the cement has finished drying, I waited about 24 hours to make sure it was completely dry and hard. It's pretty heavy now too. Anyway, but I added all the rock molds in. It's all dry. So what we're going to do now is we're going to color the rocks. Now to color the rocks, I have Woodland Scenics Earth Colors. It's basically what we're going to use to color the rock molds. Like, I'll make them show all that detail, because whenever we look at it like this, it looks all the detail. But if we just color it with, say, just normal paint, we're not going to get to be able to see all that amazing detail on these rock molds. So I'm going to take them out of the box like this. I've already used these before. They're very nice. I highly recommend this if you don't have it already. So we have all the colors. What I'm going to do, I think we're going to use white. We're definitely going to use the white. We might use concrete, but I'm definitely going to use slate, gray, and raw umber. We're going to use a mixture of these two. Now, to begin, you're going to need a small mixing jar and a paintbrush. So I'm going to go grab the paintbrush and a small mixing jar. And as you can see here, I have a very small amount of water in a plastic Tupperware. And what we're going to do is we're going to open up the colors we need. So we're going to use slate. We're going to mix slate gray and a little bit of yellow ochre and see what kind of color that turns out. So here I'm going to open up the yellow ochre or slate gray first. Just a tiny bit in. A little of this goes a very long way. I'm just going to mix it up with the water until we get a nice consistency. Going to need to mix it up a tiny bit more. A little more paint. And this is really a process that you can do just to make the look, the kind of rock that you really want to look. Now we're going to open up our yellow ochre. It's very important you want to shake these up before you open it, because you'll have different kinds of killer particles in there. Pop a little bubble on top. Just Gonna pour a little bit of this in there. Mix around the yellow ochre. Adds a little more of a brown color. And you gotta make sure you mix it very well because you don't want to be able to see little strands of yellow going through your model. Then I'm gonna take some burnt umber. It's a nice color. I always like the way burnt umber looks. And then we're going to also shake that up and add it to our board. A little much there, but just gonna again mix it around until we get the right color. Now I'm gonna go ahead and mix this so you don't have to watch me. And when I'm done, we can start applying it to the rock molds. So I mix with the water, looking more of a muddy river color. What we're going to do is we're going to have a small paintbrush like this, and we're just going to go dab it on our rock molds all the way around there. Just go around. I'm doing more of a darker color going for more of a darker color of rocks, but if you want to have more of a lighter or brown, red sort of look, you can achieve that by adding less dye or rock dye. So I'm just gonna go ahead and we're just dabbing these around. Get your paintbrush wet and we're just gonna dab them around. It's okay if you get some around the cement or whatever you just prefer to use, but you just want to make sure to get in all those most of the little cracks. Just go around. We'll be doing a few more steps after this, so don't worry if it doesn't look exactly as you planned it to look, because we will add a few touches to this. And we're just gonna, on the larger rocks, since you want to see more of the details and less of the rock, we're just gonna lightly apply it, brush it through, let it soak into that plaster, go around the sides, all the way around. Again, it's okay to get it on the cement. Now, the reason I mix the rock mold dye in the plaster was because we want to keep the dye for a future step in this modeling tutorial series. Now you can see I've already finished dyeing all the rocks, and you're going to let them dry for about 5 minutes, but while you're letting them dry, you can go ahead, and if you already haven't, stick it in a plastic container to save, and you can also clean your brush and get ready for the next step. So it's been 5 minutes, and now we're going to dry brush. So dry brushing is where I'm going to take a small paintbrush, we're going to dip it in the paint, we have a nice even coat, then we're going to lightly dust it on the side of the label or a piece of paper, and then we're going to lightly spread it over the tips of the rock molds. You can do this as much as you want, just get an even coat like a real rock would be, all around. And now I'm going to go finish this so you don't have to watch me, and when I'm done, I'll go back to you and we can move on to the next step. Now, since the when I dry brushed the white over it didn't really give me the color I was looking for, I dry brushed a tiny bit of burnt umber, and that really gives it a nice look. You can really see the texture, detail, and all the rocks. One little white flecks of like various things that rocks have, I don't know. But now what we're going to do is we're going to take some paint and paint all around. Now the paint I'm using is the colored clay pot from the Home Depot brand Bear. So we're just going to go ahead and shake it up, and then we're going to open the paint can. Mine's a little stuck, and we're going to use a large paintbrush. You can use disposable paintbrushes, those work too. So I'm going to get a little amount. I'm just going to go and paint the whole, dabbing it. We're just going to go paint the whole surface with this base coat. This base coat just adds a nice undercoat to the grass and foliage that we're going to add on later. Be sure not to get any on the rock molds, as we just finished using the wash on them. But I'm going to go through and finish painting all of this, and when I'm done, I'll get back to you. Now for this next step, you're going to need the Tupperware you said earlier and the Jeep. Then what we're going to do now is we're going to weather our Jeep. So you're going to need a paintbrush, small paintbrush, and we're going to dip it in our mixture like this. Make sure it's not too wet. Then we're going to fling our paintbrush back and just fling it on the sides of the model, giving it that nice muddy look. So it really adds a nice muddy look to it. We're going to go all the way around. All the way around. We're going to wipe it off some of the, I'm probably going to wipe it off the passenger window with a paper towel, but we're going to do both sides, and when you're finished doing both sides, you can twist it around, and start to do the front a little bit. You might go up in the grill, because there would probably be mud and stuff up the front bumper, around the front bumper. All mud caked everywhere. It's a pretty muddy truck. You can see, we're going to clean up the windshield. Clean up the windshield. And now we're going to get a piece of toilet paper or a paper towel. I'm going to go through, and since there wouldn't really be mud all the way up on the windshield, well, there would be, but we'll do another technique for that. We can remove our sides. My roof is easy to remove, but I'm just gonna wipe down here, because normally it would just be the mud would just be splattered out from the back of the wheels. I need a little more mud, or I need more mixture on our thing. All the way around there. Yeah, make sure it's not. There we go. Around the bottom. The door would probably be a little cleaner, but that's basically the basics of what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to go ahead and do this all the way around the side of the model, giving it that nice texture. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to weather the wheels. We're just going to dab our paintbrush in the mixture. I'm just going to go across, making those wheels look all muddy around the backs, the tires. Making it look all weathered, add a few more splatters here and there. Now for this next step, you're going to need some household dirt and some clear drying glue. I'm just using some Emery glue. What we're going to do is we're going to spread the glue out over the area that we want to add ground cover. Then with an old brush, you can brush the glue all around, being sure not to get it on the rock molds or the river. Just gonna go brush it all around. Make sure you have a nice, even, thin coat. Again, make sure you don't want to get any glue on the rock molds as I did there. Although it does dry clear, it might leave a few lumps on the rock molds that we do not want. So when we're done spraying out the glue, we're gonna take our dirt in our hands, and we're just going to spread it all the way around on the model. I've sifted this dirt so it's nice and thin, and we're just going to go with our fingers and one old brush. I'm using the brush for glue, but if you have another brush on hand, you can use that too. But I'm just going to be going around with my fingers, getting some dirt out of the container, and just spreading it around. Now what we're going to do is I have a sort of dark bluish green, and I'm just going to go paint it all around the areas where the river is going to be. We're going to make sure not to get on the rocks, like I'll go around the rocks. Around the rocks. We're just going to keep painting this until the whole riverbed area is covered and is ready for the resin. So I finished painting the river, the water around the waterfall and everything. I'm just going to wait about 4 hours for the paint to fully cure before I start pouring the resin. Now to prepare for pouring the resin, I've just started to add the foliage. I'm just using Woodland Scenics. It's a good company. I found clump foliage and also tree armatures. I just stuck the tree armatures on with Hobby Tack glue. You can also find that at any stores. But to prepare for the resin, I took a piece of regular painter's tape and I've cut it to fit in the area that I want to pour the water. And then I've also outlined the area with hot glue so that none of the resin leaks out of the enclosure. I did the same thing down at the other end. It's a little bigger, so I've added a little more hot glue to add extra strength to it. So now it can't move. And now we can begin pouring the resin. Now, since this is my first time doing resin, I'm learning right now, but this is Bondo fiberglass resin. It's usually used for construction purposes, but I'm just using it for my model. So we're going to start pouring the resin into the plastic container. It's a 4:1 ratio. I'm going to use quite a bit of resin. There we go, that's enough. Put the lid on. And then we're also going to do the hardener now. I'm just going to add some hardener. Make sure that should be enough. And now what we're going to do is we're going to mix it. With an old scrap piece of metal or whatever you have around. This is an old scrap piece of metal I just found in the room. So I'm just going to use it. Just going to go mix it around all over. And now we can begin applying it to the diorama. So we're just going to pour it in easily. I add the stir I use to stir it up as a protection to make sure that it does not bubble up at all. And we're just going to go pour around the excess resin all over the place. All around. So I just gone through and I finished pouring the resin. I think I'm going to do one more coat around the top and maybe around the waterfall area. But that's what I've done for now. Since it was bubbling out a little bit, I decided to add a piece of wood to the tape so it doesn't bubble. And again, on the other side too. And all in all, it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. Occasionally, a small bubble with it, and you can use a straw and just go ahead and pop it all around. Just pop all the bubbles around. It's very simple. Just go around, make sure if there are any bubbles, just go ahead and pop them so we have a smooth surface. So I've gone through, the resin has finished drying, and I've just started to add some scenery. I'm just using Woodland Scenic scenery. It looks pretty good. But I've just gone through, put some foliage in all around the area. And to make the water waves, I used some clear drying glue, or you can also just use clear glue. I just used some Gorilla Glue that dries clear, and I dabbed it with a brush. Unfortunately, my camera died in that part, so that part is not on film. But in future videos, you'll probably be able to see that. So now we're just going to go brush off all the excess dirt from the edge of the diorama, and we're going to paint it with some flat black. Just some average flat black. You can find it. You can use gloss black if you like gloss. I'm just using flat because that's what I have right now. But we're going to take our large brush here, shake it up, and just start painting. Yep, we're just going to go paint all around the side of the model. And there you have it, a very easy and very stunning diorama. And there you have it, a very amazing and stunning diorama. The waves really bring it all together with the river, and it all looks very nice. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and if you did, like it. If you didn't, well, then don't like it. But anyway, thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.